In this video, I'm going to show you the most important things to look for when buying a rental property to make sure that it cash flows and makes you money. Hey, what's going on, folks? Andrew Ferguson here from The Economist, bringing you the best tips and strategies for investing in real estate and the stock market. I've been doing this the past 7 years for myself, and now I'm on a mission to try and help others create wealth in their lives. If this sounds like something you're interested in, consider subscribing. But before we get into today's video, let's break down some assumptions that we need to clear up and then dive into those tips for buying your first rental property. So throughout this video, everything that I'm going to be talking about applies to a certain type of house that we're going to be calling the cookie cutter method, or the most sought after home that I see in the real estate markets. And that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single family home. Remember that as we go through the video. And here is tip number 1. In order to maximize your chances of gaining appreciation on the home, which means you buy it today and you sell it for more than you paid in the future, what you need to do is really nail down the area that you want to be investing in. It's important to note that not all areas are created equal. So what do you guys need to look for when you're nailing down your area? Well, here it is. You really want to focus on 2 main things, and they are population growth relative to the national average. You want that population growth of the area you're investing in to be higher than the population growth of the national average. This means that in that area, more people are coming in than compared to the average of the rest of the country, and that means it's a hotbed for people to move there. They're going to bring their families there, they're going to buy properties there, which bodes well in the future for real estate. Also, tie that into with the income level in that area. If the income level is also above the national average, that means people are getting good paying jobs there. They're going to stay there because of those jobs and buy houses and increase the demand for housing in that area, which is great for you as a real estate investor because you want to buy now and have your property appreciate over time. A lot of big urban centers, think big cities like Toronto, New York City, Chicago, Vancouver. All of these cities have tons and tons of people. So if you're really stuck for a place to start to look about half an hour to an hour drive outside of those big urban areas and then start comparing some numbers from there. Now, assuming you guys have an area that's locked in, we're going to niche down one more step within that area that you've chosen. So once you have that area, you want to look for the best neighborhoods within that total community. And how can you do this? You can focus on a few things. First being, you want to find the best school in the area. You can normally do a quick Google search for school rankings in whatever county, area, city that you're in, and it'll pull up a list of the best ranked schools in the area. Find the ones in the good neighborhoods. Good schools equals good neighborhoods and more demand for housing. You also want to be up to date with what's going on in that area. Are there any sewers or road projects? Is there any rail lines being built? Major transportation expansion happening? All of those things. You see infrastructure spending, government spending in those areas. They are priming the area for future growth. So we've talked about the area, the city. We've actually niched down to get into that neighborhood you want to get to. So we want to pick the best possible house for you to make sure that you generate some cash flow. There's 2 ways to do this now. The first way is you want to get something nice and fancy. Why is that? A fancy house is going to increase your likelihood of getting a better quality tenant. The nice finishes, nice flooring. That's what people want to see. That's what people want to have, and they can generally keep it a little bit more cleaner than a house with some rough finishes. With that being said, you're going to have to pay a little bit more upfront in order to afford a home like that, but that's okay because you have to deal with less stress, less maintenance, and less issue with tenants in all likelihood. The second way that you can do this is by picking a house that's not quite as nice on the street and then putting some renovations into it yourself. Obviously, you want to be as hands-on as possible and save some costs in this, but you can pay less up front, attract a lower tier tenant, get paid a little bit less in rent, but have the potential to do a quick bathroom reno, do a quick kitchen reno, put some flooring and paint on the walls, lipstick it up a bit, and then add value that way. So there's 2 schools of thought on this one. It comes down to personal preference, but let me know in the comments below, if you were to buy a rental property, which way would you go? Now let's take this concept one step further. And again, not all houses are created equal, so we're looking for houses that we can potentially add value to in a different way. Instead of just doing some renovations and do some quick fixes, we want to look at houses that actually have the potential to offer secondary suites. Let's say you have a property, a 3-bed, 2-bath, done up to the nines, it's perfect. You're going to get a certain amount of high cash flow there with a good tenant. Is that worth more potentially than a property that's not quite as nice, a little bit rough around the edges, but it's 3-bed, 2-bath on one level, and then it's got an unfinished basement with the potential to convert it into a secondary suite? You might have to pay a little bit extra up front for the house with the unfinished basement just because there's more square footage. With that being said, if you have a property with an unfinished basement and you can create a secondary suite, even a 1-bedroom bachelor style apartment, you can generate anywhere from $500 to $800, let's say even $1,000 in extra cash flow each month. Let's take $800 and say that $800 each month in cash flow is going to cost you $50,000 up front on the purchase price. So you tack on $50,000 to the purchase price of the home, but then you get an extra $800 after the renovations are done to convert that into a basement apartment. That $800 each month will turn itself into $50,000 in just over 5 years, which isn't that long in the game of real estate. With these tips in mind, you guys can confidently scan properties in the area you want to invest in, looking for great deals where you can add value and increase the likelihood of creating rental properties that produce you guys monthly cash flow. So if you guys got value from this video today, consider subscribing to the channel again. Turn on notifications if you do. That way you guys are up to date with the latest content when videos do debut. Also, I invite you guys to check me out on Instagram at The Economist. Thanks so much for checking the video today, guys, and keep investing in yourselves.